Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, today I want to talk about negotiating Europe with mobility issues or disabilities. I've had some mobility issues myself, so I'm kind of an expert on the subject, so stay tuned. Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Yeah, today we're going to talk about getting around Europe with disabilities or mobility issues. Back, what was it, 10 years ago maybe? I had a hip replacement and it was in wrong, and I had another hip replacement, and then after that I had another hip replacement. So I've had 3 hip replacements, and I still have mobility issues on occasion because of the, redoing a hip replacement is not something you want to do. Anyway, that said, I get around pretty darn well, and I'm going to give you all my tips that I have for getting around with disabilities, not only from what I've dealt with, but also what I've observed along the way. The first thing is you have to see where you're going, and you have to decide based on what you see and some research whether it's not actually doable with a disability. And one of the things that I saw that really kind of broke my heart was we were on an Azamara cruise, and we ended up in Venice. And Venice, the downtown Venice area, there's no cars, there's no taxis. You have water taxis, and then you have to walk to your hotel. So if you're in Venice, wheelchairs not super accessible. For example, maybe if you wanted to, if you found a water taxi stop, but even getting in and out of a water taxi, a little tricky. I wouldn't do it with a wheelchair. I'll just be honest with you. It can be done, but at what cost, So, on this cruise, there was a gal there who was with her mother who was disabled and in a wheelchair. And she's like, how am I going to get her to the hotel? And there was really no good answer to that question. And I felt bad for her. So understand that. Some areas are more accessible than others. Most of Europe, I will say, is pretty darn accessible. When you get into some of the hill towns, maybe not as much. Ours in Santa Dominica Tilao is pretty accessible, and in fact our B&B that we're putting up in the piazza has a wheelchair accessible room that we're putting in. We wheel right into the bathroom and pretty much enjoy the whole village from there. So so that's one thing you want to look at. Where are you going? What kind of accessibility do they have? Is it really truly accessible for somebody who is more disabled than just merely a cane and can't walk distances? So that's a good thing to keep in mind. The other thing is use whatever benefits you can while flying. There's a lot of things you can utilize that make the trip, the flight, a whole lot easier. I always, no matter how I'm feeling, I always get a wheelchair to take me on my layover, because you never know how far the gates are. And at one point, I had taken the little bus, from one, it took me miles away. It was a Chicago airport or something like that, miles away, and then they dropped me off, and just before the bus left, they went, oh, your flight, it's actually back where you came from. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could have made it in time. So use the little buses, use the wheelchairs, bring some money and tip your wheelchair attendant. I usually give him like $5. There was this cute man in Fort Lauderdale. He was like in his 80s, I think, and I'm like, I felt kind of stupid. I'm in a wheelchair and he's pushing me. Nonetheless, I gave him a $5 tip and he was just over the moon. So that goes a long way for expressing your appreciation, because they really do, they take you, not only do they take you in the wheelchair, but they get you through security easily, they get you through customs easily, and everything else. It just is a breeze when you do that. Also, the cart, there's a disabled cart that will take you from one spot to the next, so don't hesitate to do that. Another thing I do is pre-boarding. I need to get in there, get my stuff, put my cane and everything else away, take my time to do it, and that is just a godsend. It's just a few minutes extra that you get to get settled before everybody else comes into the plane, so I love that part about it. Now let's talk about travel equipment. Getting around with a disability is tricky, and I'll tell you, I haven't always been in the shape that I'm in now. I'm actually in really good shape. The hip's good, the back's getting better, and I can walk long distances with a cane, which is without pain. There was a time when every step was intensely painful, and I had to get some stuff done. I was in Florence. That was the first time I went to Florence. I couldn't stay in the hotel. I couldn't, I had to get out and about and do what I needed to do, so I rented a bicycle. And that worked out great because, you know, it took the pressure off my legs and my back and everything else. I could get everywhere fast. I covered a lot of ground. I did a lot of blogs, and I think we still have some of those blogs up on the Super Savvy website on the blog. If not, we'll put them back up there because they were really, really nice. Yeah, so get a bicycle if you're good on bikes. Get one of those. You can find Segway tours. You can take the hop-on, hop-off bus, which I love. It will take you all around whatever city you're in. You can choose what attractions you want. Jump on, jump off, and it's really pretty nice. So those are some things you want to keep in mind. Wheelchairs. Okay, many of the historic centers in Europe are cobblestones. And if you've ever gone over cobblestones in a wheelchair, it can just jar the fillings right out of your teeth. So I suggest that you find a wheelchair that is portable and very light that you can take with you on the plane and that you can transport back and forth in your car or whatever. And make sure it smoothly goes over these cobblestones because otherwise you could be in for a really uncomfortable ride. I found some online. I haven't tried them, but you can find portable travel wheelchairs online, and I would suggest you find one that works for you. Another thing is canes. You have to get a cane if you use one, and I do. Get one that folds up. Now this one has been with me all over the planet. It does fold up. I can't unfold it right now because I've jammed it in pretty good. It will take Pete's massive manpower to take it apart again. But the nice thing about it is when I was in Florence with this exact cane, you could fold it up, put it on the back of your bike and go everywhere, get off the bike, cane, and you're there. It's really nice. They're super lightweight. I got this one at CVS, I think. You can see it's been pretty well used. Cute little story. I was in Santa Domenica, Talao. I had a cane like this with flowers on it. Boy, I was the talk of the town, you know. It's just everybody was just like, wow, where'd you get that cane? Boy, that's pretty nice. So what I did is I got my friend Lucia's mom. She had some diabetic issues and mobility issues, and I bought her one of those canes as a gift, you know. Oh my God, you know, she had sort of been housebound prior to that. She had a cane, but after the cane came, boy, she was out. She was just whipping that cane around and enjoying the admiration that came with it. It was like she was the talk of the town too, so that was really, really fun. She named it, I think it was called Pico. She named it Pico. So cute, so cute. It was just really nice to see that she was out and about again. So yeah, so a good cane is a big must. Even if you don't think you're gonna need it, take it with you. You never wanna know when something's gonna flare up and you're gonna need it. Shoes, let me tell you, they make all the difference in the world. I like Skechers. They're really well made and they're really comfortable. Now I have these Skechers. These have been pretty well used, as you can see, but I wore them everywhere. These ones are not as soft. They do have the memory foam inside, which is very important. These are called, just plain Skechers. Skechers sneakers. They're very comfortable and they're great. What I like about these particular ones is they really give you a lot of stability in the ankle and they're good for walking. So these I recommend. However, there's a couple other shoes I have. When it's cold outside, I love these Skechers boots. They actually do support a lot and they're really, really soft. And these also have Goga mat, which I think is memory foam as well. Super soft, super warm, so you can wear these in the wintertime. My favorite shoes that I love the most for walking on cobblestones and walking really anywhere on any kind of hard surface are these. I thought they were Skechers. They have another name on them, but Skechers makes them. And Skechers has the Airwalk brand. The reason I like these is because these are the softest when you walk. You really, really sink down and they cushion the heck out of your hips and your back and your neck and everything. It's just really, really easy to walk in these shoes. I saw a chiropractor in Los Angeles, very famous chiropractor, by the way, Dr. Price, and he said he recommends these for all of his clients, and I can see why, because gosh, they make life so much easier. Shoes are very, very important. You don't want to wear strappy sandals or whatever. You're just going to be in pain, so make sure you have the right shoes. Suitcases. Okay, so I have a Swiss Gear rolly bag, and I love this thing. Basically, as you can see, it has, you know, wheels on it. It's really well made. I paid a little more than I would for some other knockoff brand, but the reason I love it is because these wheels roll over anything. I mean, you can just, and you just have your hand, you know, pushing it, and it holds everything. Now I have another backpack. It's called the Low Pro backpack. And the reason I like it is because I can attach it onto the handles on my rolly bag. So I have one unit that I just roll, which is great because it leaves a hand free for my cane. So with these, these are just carry-ons that you can use, and frankly, probably next time I'm gonna go to Italy, unless I'm bringing a lot of video and camera equipment, I'm probably just gonna have a rolly bag with me because I have everything in Italy that I need. So you can travel pretty well. If you get the clothes that you can rinse out and wear again the next day, you can probably do it just on a rolly bag and a backpack. So yeah, so get a Swiss gear bag. I really can't say enough. Even if you're gonna get a big one, make sure it's a Swiss gear because they roll really, really easily. I have another one that we call Big Red. Big Red is huge, and I had to buy it because my friend Tricia and I bought way too many handbags at Moretti's store in Florence. So we bought some cheapo Big Red, and we've been using it. It's a bit cumbersome, just to say the least. It's been working, but it's not a Swiss gear. So I recommend getting Swiss gear whenever you buy any kind of suitcase. I don't get anything from Swiss gear for that. Maybe I will after this, who knows? But I like you to know because it's one that I really, really like. Okay, and finally we have accommodations. Now bear in mind that accommodations in Europe are very different than they are in America. They don't have the Americans with Disabilities Act thing, which makes everything accessible for obvious reasons. It's not America. Plus the fact that many of these structures, even the hotels and things like that, may have been built a way long time ago, and there's limited about what you can do. In Venice, there were very few elevators that I could find. And the reason was because that there's very strict building limits, and you're very limited on what you can do with these old walls and whatnot, So don't take anything for granted. If you need an elevator, make sure you check and ensure that there's one in your accommodations. Also, it's a good idea to have somebody that's, like a porter or somebody there to take your bags upstairs. Again, in Venice, Pete and I were there. We were up on the 3rd floor, which is fine. I can climb stairs pretty well. We had to take all our junk up there with us, all our rolly bags, and even Big Red, which was entertaining. So check to see that they have porters and elevators and whatnot if you've got mobility issues. Another thing is get something close to the attractions. If you've got a wheelchair or something like that, you don't want to be diving in and out of taxis. If you have trouble walking, you don't want to have to walk to the metro. It'd be nice to be near the attractions, near food, so you don't have to go that far in order to see what you want to see and get what you need to get. So that's another thing that you want to keep in mind. Okay, finally, you have to prepare yourself for your trip. Europe is a very walky group of countries. All over Europe, you have to walk. There's a lot of public transportation, and you have to walk to it. You go get on and off the trains, you have to walk. You're going to be hoisting your gear on the trains and things like that, which is another reason not to buy Big Red, because he was quite a trick to get on and off the trains when he was full of handbags. So bear that in mind. Start walking beforehand and work your way up to a few blocks at a time so that when you get there, you're not sore and, wishing that you had, Tylenol with you in the whole 9 yards. Get that done in advance. Also, any shoes you get, make sure they're well broken in before you go. Make sure that you've ironed out any sort of issues with, padding or whatever you need to do. Do it in advance. In our house in Santa Domenica Talau, we live, a ways from the piazza. It's a few staircases up. And it usually takes me like a week and a half to do it where I can finally just get up to the piazza in one go. A week and a half to get to that point. This time I'm not going to do that. I have a staircase behind me. I'm going up and down that thing because I want to be able to do it in one go as soon as I get there. So keep that in mind. Get some exercise. When you're there, stay hydrated. Make sure you bring electrolytes with you, salt and potassium, whatever, check with your doctor. Make sure you have all of that. And I think you will be in pretty good shape. So I hope this helps you. These are the tips that I've gleaned over a lot of years of limping around Europe with canes and whatnot. So anyway, we're excited. We have a lot of exciting things coming. We've got 2 very cool interviews that you're going to love. I'm not going to tell you what they are now because it's going to be a surprise. And maybe a Christmas surprise for you. So 2 really awesome interviews coming up and then a bunch of other great content. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and comment and like and do all those other things, and we'll see you soon.